clues from the conversations, right, that kids are hearing, it turns out that speakers, when they're talking to children, generally talk about things that are present in the here and now. So if there's a kitty present, they might say something like, "Look at the Siamese, he's so cute," rather than, "I just took her to the vet yesterday, poor thing's been sick all last week," right? Talking about things that are happening in the past or an extended period of time that aren't really about labeling, say, this object. So this mapping problem that Quine pointed out about, wow, there's just sort of a zillion different hypotheses about, say, what Siamese could mean, is not quite so bad in child-directed speech. And in fact, there's a study from 2012 that looked at sort of the nature of the child-directed speech utterances, and it turns out that speakers generally tend to talk about the same thing for a while, which is called discourse continuity, right? And so this is a pictorial representation. Sorry, the color's a little messed up here. This should all be red. That should all be green there. But things in red are an object is present and mentioned, right? So it's visually salient, and it's talked about in the discourse. And you can see over time when you're looking at these different objects, there's a lot of red going on here. The other part is blue, right? An object is present but it's not mentioned. So it's like, hey, things are sort of visually available in the environment, but I'm not naming them. But the red things are the things I'm naming. And the green, which is very, very rare, actually, are things where you're actually mentioning an object, but it's not present, right? That's just not something that seems to happen for very young children. So there's discourse continuity, and there's talking about the here and now, right? We tend to talk about the same thing for a while, for these larger chunks of time, right? And in general, when you have these extended conversations, it turns out that both the parents who are speaking to the kids and the kids exhibit greater sustained attention on objects, greater coordination between their behaviors, right? So this discourse continuity is helpful for holding joint attention, for making, this is sort of an elaborate diagram sort of showing kind of what tends to happen, but toddler gaze and parent gaze, toddler holding and parent holding, there's just greater coordination and therefore greater accessibility of the meaning of these objects, right? When you have these extended discourses where you're talking about the here and now, where there is continuity in terms of how you keep talking about the same thing.